Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in this world. This is Haejin Lee with the morning update for Bitcoin. Overnight price has breached below the lower trend line of the upward pointing wedge. For triangles, it doesn't have to have A, B, C, D, E sequence of waves. That is why 20% to about a third of triangles for cryptos break out on the D wave instead of finishing up to the E wave. And that breakout is the same for upside or downside, doesn't matter. And here we have a breakout on the D wave pretty much. If that's the case, I think we are now resorting back to what we had before. So if we remove these, then we will say this is A, 5 wave down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 wave up, 1, 2, 3 for B. And C, I'll bring it up to, I'll raise it to 8,400 or so. And 4 will come down here. So we had this before, and now we are back to this. And I think it's very interesting. So let me take you through some of the additional aspects of fractals, but let me finish the count here first. So if we have 5, 3, and then C wave will be 5 waves down. And that'll be at around 8,400, let's say. And it could be anywhere within this cluster of support zone. And if that's the case, I think it'll take longer than that actually. Then we can even probably draw a symmetrical triangle. And that'll shape out to be pretty well, pretty nice. Because then price will finish the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down for C. That'll complete the wave 4. And the breakout will be towards the upside. And then we can get, let me bring this back up here again. Something like that. We'll bring this all the way to the right because time has elapsed. So this looks pretty interesting. Now, let's go back to these two fractals. Look at their miniature bear flags. Each flag generated a decline, decline, and then an up, decline, decline, and then a consistent upward movement. And this breakout will allow the completion to wave 5. All right, now, let's for a moment put this down here again. Get rid of this for now. Actually, no, let's keep those symmetricals. So we have here a bear flag. And because this can be labeled as a flag, it's pretty exciting. That means that there is a good likelihood for another flag to be formed somewhere around here, let's say. And probably somewhere within the boundaries of this symmetrical or downward pointing wedge. Price will decline from this first bear flag just like it did here and here. So let me try to do this freehand. Price will decline. It'll do a wiggle up and down a few times, to make that second bear flag and decline one more time and then rise. And that rise will mean the start of this impulse wave up towards wave 5. And look how prettily it all just fits in. Now, wave C, remember every C wave is pretty much has to have 5 subwaves down. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It all seems to just fall in place. Now, so this could be a third fractal of these two. We kind of had a small one right here, but this is a lot more pronounced. So let's go to this one and take another look at it. So here the symmetrical triangle shows to be pretty containing the fractal. Okay, all right, so if we can go to here and let's draw some line across right here and a line across the tops, and what do you got? The similarity index is pretty good. And then let's go to here now. While this is probably not the exact downward pointing wedge, but I would say it's a very nice, well-formed symmetrical triangle. And I think this looks just very nice. This is what I call the culmination of patterns, in this case fractals, Elliott waves, pointing to the same thing. This correction probably will be very healthy and a minor correction. And after that will be another higher high attainment. Now, I'm not saying that this is the ultimate target for wave 5. It could be far higher than that, especially if wave 5 extends. But for now, I'll keep it there. And I hope you were able to follow me in this, because you have to have the eye to be able to discern and conceptualize these patterns and fractals and spot it out, draw it out, pattern it out, and then formulate it into a projection of potential probable future price pathway. Okay, now, one more thing I want to share. Let's not lose sight of the longer term perspective. Remember how, if you recall, I've shown many altcoins having a double rounded pattern as a part of their consolidation. Well, some of them had symmetrical triangle twice, maybe in a different size. Again, fractals. But the important thing here is not the fractals. When I'm trying to stress the sequential nature of the consolidation patterns. So in this case, for Bitcoin, I think we have the type where there is a downward wedge followed by a rounded price formation. And let's see how we can translate this into here. So I've already drawn the wedge on this. I mean, I've been drawing this wedge for months now. So we have the wedge. And where do we have the rounded bottom formation? So let me see if I can draw this out freehand. That's why it looks like a little bit of wiggle and squiggle, because I'm doing this by freehand. I don't like the tools that are already here. It just doesn't, but here, it just, I can't customize it enough. So What I'm thinking is that on this time around, so first time at 11,800, it got repelled. Second time, it got really repelled. Third time, it's going to get repelled, but probably temporarily pierce the 12,000, maybe go to 12,300 or so. And then it'll get repelled. But I think we may get a potential for this. And what do you call this? This is called a cup and handle. Again, what am I doing? I'm not making this stuff up. I'm I am utilizing. Oh, I could just see the haters and the trolls disagreeing. Not that I care. It's just so humorous. I'm using preponderance of pattern to project the cup and handle. And I think this is really neat. The short term I showed you here is all just wiggles and squiggles in the perspective of the bigger picture, just wiggling, squiggling. It's like nothing. Price could decline, temporarily pierce this. So what I'm thinking is like this. If we have this, the sequence of a wedge and a rounded pattern sequence of consolidation, that's exactly what we're looking at. And if we get it, we're getting this completion towards the cup formation, we will likely have an Elliott wave count of 1, 2, 3 temporarily pierce, and then 5, which will complete the first 5-wave sequence, but also complete the cup. Now you have to remember, and I was thinking this was maybe June or July, but it may come earlier. You know, time is the most difficult thing to project compared to price. Why? Price is a reflection of sentiment. Therefore, you can project the prices based on the sentiment readings. And Elliott waves attempts to do exactly that. However, time is not a reflection of sentiment. And I've always maintained, for that reason, projection of time simultaneous with price is extremely difficult. It's not a multivariate, but it's a near impossible task. Yes, they do interact, time and price do interact, and they have to correlate. Yes, I know. But I think it's a lot easier to project the price than the time. But regardless, okay. So let's say this happens in second week of May or so, the wave 5 top. Maybe the third week of May, maybe in June. Whenever it happens, the sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the aspect of a cup and handle is when the handle is as a result of after uh, the fifth wave, then that handle will likely do a 38 to 50% retrace. So we got A, B. We're probably going to take a trip down to maybe 8,600. But is that time to despair? Is that time to panic sell? Not necessarily. You can take some profits here, sure. If you have no cash, raise some cash. Go farming for cash. But this completes the handle formation beautifully too. And if that's the case, from here, after that is complete, I think that's when we get the real surge. That's why I've been saying we ain't seen nothing yet. All right, I made this video a little bit long, but I hope this makes sense to you. This is what is in my mind, have been for a while, from a primary development perspective. Thank you and have a wonderful day.